Hey guys, welcome back to the Dark Souls podcast. Sorry, sorry for the long delay. We actually, as mentioned in one of DolphinVi's last video, we actually did record something, but like due to some audio problems, it became unusable. So, but we're here now, so better late than never, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we have a
Yeah.
couple of topics. Some two or three of them we talked about in like our scrapped podcast, but some of them are pretty new. So let's jump right into it.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to talk about first, Dolphin View? Would you like to talk about Wolfenstein 2 coming to Switch?
Yeah, let's go that one first.
So recently, they recently some footage has been finally released of Wolfenstein 2 playing on the Switch. Which, I have to admit, I'm kind of surprised it took us this long to get any footage of it. Like, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, I figured it was gonna take a while for it to come out, but I figured like we'd have seen some gameplay from now. But I guess they just weren't ready yet. And while it does look good right now, I'm kind of can't help but wonder, does it look too good? Like, I can't help but wonder, are they trying to hide something? You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's just my natural skepticness of me.
Well, you
What do
should
you
be
think?
skeptic.
Well, what,
So I don't
I
know
don't.
whether it is at the moment.
I'm a skeptic on certain things. Wouldn't call myself like a YouTube skeptic. That's for certain.
Mm-hmm. A skeptic without being in part of the skeptic community.
Mm. But like anyway, do you have anything like you like? Do you have any like other thoughts on it other than like what are your thoughts on it? It's like, are you suspicious or like you think I'm being stupid? What do you think?
I'm wondering what editing they did to the footage afterwards. You don't know if they've upped the resolution or not.
Yeah, and I also wonder like yeah, like I wonder if also like I can't remember what game it was. I think it was Arkham Knight. Yeah, it was Arkham Knight. Like I remember when that game first came out. One trick they did was they actually to make it seem like it ran at 60 frames per second. They actually slightly sped up the footage a little bit. In a way, so I wonder if
Mm-hmm.
they did that, or like I like maybe they're being completely genuine. I hope they're being genuine. I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
like the gaming industry has taught me to like suspect like stuff like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isn't that right, No Man's Sky? And Peter Molyneux. Anyway,
Always be suspicious of trailers or
yeah,
even gameplay footage. I mean, the
um,
Evil
uh,
Within showed that.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Anyway, what else is there do you want to talk
Well,
about?
on that, we also now have footage of Dark Souls running on the Switch.
Oh yeah, that's right. That just came out. That's some good news. I've played a bit of Bloodborne, but I'm a pleb. I've never actually played the. Well, I played a little bit of Dark Souls at a friend's house. So, but I haven't like full on like really played it. Like I don't own it and stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
I might end up getting it for the Switch and stuff because stuff like portability appeals to people like me.
Of course it does.
Yeah. But like all seriousness though, like it's just that like I just said I had never played Dark Souls before, so I won't have to worry about like double dipping or anything. So like I'm assuming it plays well, which it does in the footage you sent me. It should be
Mm-hmm.
good. So
Yeah, and as the footage is actually a guy playing the Switch, I mean,
yeah,
it's harder to fake that.
it is. Oh yeah, it is a lot harder to fake that.
So it's
Um,
more
uh,
believable that it's running that well.
I wonder though, like I wonder if they're like if they're like how like it's gonna like I wonder like if they had to like remove any environments or something like
For Dark
like
Souls,
well like for for Skyrim like I saw a video on Skyrim on the Switch and apparently one thing they had to do was in certain areas they had to remove some trees or something in order for it to like run right or whatnot. So, like, I wonder if something like that has to be done for Dark Souls.
I don't think so.
No, probably not.
I mean, especially the remastered version where they've gotten Blighttown fixed.
Yeah.
God, I hate you, Blighttown. I hate you so much.
Why do you hate Blighttown so much?
You know how many times I died there?
20. Am I close?
They're more like 30.
Okay. That was
And
close.
all those damn massive mosquitoes that keep flying at you.
I wonder...
And the giant poo monsters that keep smashing you with logs.
This is probably a stupid question, but I wonder if there's going to be any significant difference between the Dark Souls remaster versus like the original Dark Souls versus the remaster version. Like I don't know, it probably won't be noticeable on the Nintendo Switch, but like I wonder like if it's like for PCs or whatnot, will there be like a noticeable...
Oh, hold on, I forgot my radio was on.
Oh, hi, Inquisitor.
This thing off.
We actually just started.
Oh, you just started, so I'm on time actually for once.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Lethality isn't here though, so like I guess we've decided not to resurrect him still, but like we're jerks like that. Maybe one day we'll resurrect him. Yeah. We were just talking about Dark Souls remaster.
Because he's a dark platypus indeed.
Anyway, like if I'm correct, is Dark Souls Remastered also getting released on like PC and other platforms?
I think it's being released on PC. Basically, it's I hear people saying that the PC version isn't really necessary since the DS fix already fixed everything.
Yeah.
But I think it is good for PC players who haven't gotten all those mods.
Yeah. I kind of wonder though. The answer is probably obviously no, but still I can't help, like a man can dream. I wonder if there's going to be any like real significant differences between the remaster and like the original. I mean, other than some like minor bug fixes. Probably, if I were to guess, I'd say probably not. They're probably just going to be
I'll just be glad that I can get all the Souls games on one console.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. I've only played It's funny, I'm kind of a noob when it comes to Souls games. I played a little bit of Bloodborne, like up to the first 2 bosses, and I played a couple minutes of 10 to 20 minutes of Dark Souls at a friend's house and stuff. So like I'm pretty new to the Souls series, so it's gonna be exciting for me.
Yeah. That's the irony of him being on the Dark Souls podcast.
Well, I did play a bit of both. I played Bloodborne, so that kind of counts.
But how much of Bloodborne?
I got up to the second boss. Well, what happened was like I don't understand. I was like really into Bloodborne and stuff. Like it was like I happened to get into it right near when Persona 5 came out, and so like when Persona 5 came out, I was like really looking forward to it. So I'm like, I'm sorry, Bloodborne, I have to put you off for a bit, and then I just sort of forgot to go back to it. But I really do want to go back to it. I really had a lot of fun like in the little bit I played of it.
Did either of you guys watch Kids Moves stream of Bloodborne?
No, what happened? I remember. Didn't you challenge him to Bloodborne at one point?
A video comparing his first encounter with the Shadows of Yharnam with my first encounter, and it took him five streams before he finally beat that boss. And I beat that boss on my first try.
Lucky.
Well, the sad thing is, like, the only reason I think I was able to beat the first boss was because at the time I still had a PlayStation Plus subscription. I don't anymore, but at the time I did. So I actually called in someone to help me, and he like took the brunt of the damage while I like did a lot of damage to it.
Yeah.
So like I'm in other words, I'm the worst. I'm like the worst ever, and I'm what's wrong with the gaming industry. I don't even know why I'm on this podcast. I think I should probably kick me from this podcast. I don't deserve to be here.
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean,
what would this podcast be?
At least you didn't have a whole meme video made about you with like the cleric beast going, "Boom, bitch!" or "Dodge, bitch! Get out of the way! Get out!"
Yeah, at least that.
Kids who first tried fighting the cleric beast.
Oh.
I am curious because, like, Inquisitor, have you played Dark Souls 2 at all out of curiosity?
Dark Souls 2, I didn't really like it that much. Like,
Yeah,
the changes were a little too jarring.
yeah, I've heard a lot of people say they didn't like Dark Souls 2. Like I heard like one problem that they had like I heard
Combat
one.
was so different because of the way the animations work and the responsiveness of the controls.
Yeah. I also heard
Feel very different.
I also heard that, like, to be fair, I haven't played the game, but I've heard from a bunch of people that I've talked to that play the game that's like, in terms of difficulty, it's less more of the game's difficult, but more of they like to put a lot of overwhelming amount of enemies in rooms. Is that true at all, or is that like an exaggeration?
Not really. It's not so much the placement of enemies, it's just like... See, in the first Dark Souls, if you were skilled enough, you could go through the game up.
Yeah.
Whereas in Dark Souls 2, I guess it's like, unless you're leveled up, your chances of survival are pretty slim.
Speaking of which, like, well, speaking of like stuff like that, I'm gonna sorry. Like, I've been thinking actually recently about like about like reviews and whatnot, and like ooh, sorry about that. And like I've been thinking that like one thing that a lot of people love to do with video games is speed running and whatnot, and like I've been thinking that wouldn't it be more like one thing I would like to see more of in the future, but like I feel like we haven't seen much of, is that, okay, I'll get to the point. Like, I feel like we get a lot of reviews from, like, average gamers or gaming journalists and whatnot, but I feel like it would be interesting to see more reviews from, like, different types of gamers. Like I would love to see, like, more reviews, like, from the perspective of someone who, like, loves speedrunning games and whatnot, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think of... Like,
Well, it's not like they ever get any press time. I mean... Don't get me wrong, that'd be pretty awesome if like an average YouTuber that was reviewing games actually got his review Metacritic or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. But I don't think they're considered important enough for that kind of thing.
Yes, I feel like I don't know, I just feel like it would be interesting. This is more me speaking hypothetically, not necessarily like seriously considering the money and whatnot, all those other things behind it, but I'm just mostly thinking like it'd be like, I feel like in terms of reviews, there are some good people in the gaming industry, like some are not good. Like there are some people out there who offer interesting perspectives and are pretty good reviewers, but like I feel like one thing that would really help out would be, I think, really interesting is if we got more reviews from people that have very different perspectives from your average gamer and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think you get that. I think you get that anyway, though. Like you'll get people who review certain games and give it like not quite as high a score as other people because that kind of game wasn't their forte to begin with.
Yeah.
And that's why you get such diverse reviews in the first place. But if the reviews are usually unanimous, then the vast amount of people reviewing the game are probably or not into that kind of game to begin with.
Or the game just wasn't that good.
Yeah. That is a good point. I'm so sorry. I'm like a little bit. It's a little bit allergy season for me, so I'm like coughing a bit. But like
I do when I got allergies.
Sorry to hear that. Hopefully we both feel better soon. Anyway, another thing I've been thinking about, like this was sort of brought up by the YouTuber The Gaming Brit Show, but I've been thinking about it too and stuff. So don't go saying I plagiarized him, please. I'm not a plagiarist. Oh yeah, before I go into this, like, do you think it's wrong of me, like, to sometimes bring up points that other people brought it up as long as I say I got this idea from this person or not, or do you think that's still like plagiarizing? Because like in both my real life and on this podcast, there are a couple times where I've like brought up like similar points that I've.
Well, I mean, I think it's okay to say that you were inspired by another person's idea.
Like anyway,
Damn it, Rick, shut up.
fair enough. Anyway, like moving on to something else. Like one thing continue with one thing I really hope that happens, or it probably will happen more and more as games goes on. I don't want like games to get like dumbed down or simplified necessarily, but like I hope like, and I see it is starting to some degree with some games, but like I really hope like we really like get fully 100% customization with like controllers or keyboards or whatnot, where like you can like really like kind of like the sky's the limit and stuff, where how you want to bind them and whatnot. Because like not only will that like really help out just like your average Joe players, but that could really also help out like maybe some players who are like gamers who are slightly disabled in some use physically or whatnot.
Well, if we're talking about playing Dark Souls and you're talking about customizable controls,
I'm talking about games in general. I'm not talking about specifically Dark Souls. I'm just talking about like games.
Just as an example, I mean, ask, how does playing Dark Souls with a mouse actually feel better? I'm asking this because Enclave felt amazing with the mouse and keyboard. It worked. Like, the movement style of the game itself just doesn't seem to go out with mouse and keyboard.
I wouldn't know. I've never actually played Dark Souls with a mouse and keyboard before.
It's very possible that you're right though, because I think it did start out like on consoles and ported later. So like there's definitely a bunch of games that like it really is interesting to me like what games are like. It really is interesting how like some games are like better with controllers and some are better with keyboards and stuff. It's really pretty interesting.
What the hell?
Like I brought this up in a previous podcast. I wonder if it's actually scientifically proven that like in certain games, like particularly racing games, I hear a lot like from people who like play racing games that controllers are like so much better. I wonder if it's...
I mean, I can't really say that with like a definite conviction, because it just came to my mind. There was a guy I knew in high school. I think his right arm was gimped. He couldn't use it properly. Still played games on his Game Boy Advance with one hand.
Wow.
Pretty good.
A soccer game on his Game Boy Advance, and you do all the button presses and everything with one hand.
Oh, that's pretty impressive.
I mean, it's one thing to be able to reach all those buttons and be able to push them, but it's another. It's like he was doing it fluently.
Wow, he must have been really skilled then.
Well, I guess, you know, it's one of those instances where you get used to it based on your condition, right?
Yeah. I think that's definitely like you bring up a good point. Player conditioning, like like for the longest, well, I guess partially because I didn't play on PC for a long time, but like I can still play first-person shooters on consoles and whatnot, or with a controller, but like once I really started playing at least a couple of FPS games on PC, I definitely really got why some people were like
mouse and keyboard is the way to go for
for that stuff. Like, yeah. But it's like at the same time, if I had never done that, I probably wouldn't have ever noticed a difference. So like I wonder, I don't know. I had a point somewhere, but then I forgot. It's mid-conversation. What I'm trying to say is like you bring up some interesting points, Inquisitor. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm really nervous today.
Yeah, I was wondering what was the point of what we're talking about.
Yeah. Fair enough. How about we move on to something with more of a point?
Okay, let's get Steve the clipboard and see what we're going to talk about.
You named your clipboard?
It plays a big part in the podcast. I give it a name. Okay, we've talked about the progress of RPCS3 in emulating PS3 games. I mean, since we have Inquisitor on, that'd be something to talk about.
So, if you don't know Inquisitor, recently, apparently there's been some big breakthroughs with the PlayStation, that PlayStation 3 emulator, and apparently it's possible to play The Last of Us, not like at a really good frame rate and stuff. Like I think you can kind of barely play it, but you can technically play it. So, like, that's something that happened recently. Speaking of which, I don't know if we've ever heard your thoughts on emulation. What are your overall opinions on emulation? Are you for it? Are you against it?
Well, I think we talked about this a while back. As long as you own a copy of the game you're playing, then I don't see a problem with emulation.
Yeah, fair enough. But
or if the game is technically freeware at this point.
I am glad to hear that there's like I guess especially for me, like I'm really glad to hear they're starting to make some like breakthroughs in like the PlayStation 3 emulator, because like I mean I already own The Last of Us on PlayStation 4, but like what I'm really hoping for is that like some of the Yakuza, like, you know, you guys know I'm a big fan of the Yakuza series.
Yeah, we know
on about it every podcast. But like, I'm thinking I want to play some of the PlayStation 3 versions emulated, but I looked them up and I realized that the PlayStation 3 versions don't run that well in the emulator. So I'm hoping.
I think honestly, if you wanted to emulate a version of The Last of Us, you probably have an easier time trying to emulate the PS4 version.
Really? Because like, well,
3 wasn't using x86 architecture.
Well, x86 architecture is very hard to emulate on x86 machines.
Yeah. Either way, though, it's
that's
good to
part
know,
of the reason why PS4 emulation hasn't started yet. It's hard to do.
It is interesting, like why does it exactly take like? I am a little confused on this. Why does it take like so many years or like just such a long time to really emulate like games like on like the more recent consoles? Like it just has to do with like cracking the hardware, or like it's
well, like an emulation is basically trying to copy exactly what a console does, and doing that on a software level is not the easiest thing to do, especially when you're basically trying to play copycat with a processor that isn't used in most desktop computers.
That makes sense.
There's the fact you're basically making a copy of a different machine, software-wise, in another machine, and a copy of a different operating system, and running software on it at the same time. That's difficult.
Sounds pretty difficult.
Basically, just it's basically the console version of a virtual machine.
Yep.
Sounds
to make a virtual machine for a Windows platform, because, well, you're essentially just doing Windows inside Windows.
Yeah. That makes sense. So do we have anything else we want to say about like the about Last of Us being semi-playable on a PlayStation 3 emulator, or should we move on to another topic?
I mean, like, how playable is it? Do they have like a video or something? I'd be interested to see how well it plays.
I think DolphinVi was the one who alerted me on this, so like,
yeah.
Do they have a video?
BSOD Gaming. That's the channel you want to look at if you want to know how PlayStation 3 emulation's going.
Now you're saying we could fix it? In theory.
According to, like, I haven't had a chance to check out his channel yet, but according to DolphinVi, like, he's like a master at emulation and whatnot. So, like, he really knows his stuff.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And one thing.
What did you say? What did you say the name of his channel was?
BSOD Gaming.
Bullshit.
What's bullshit?
BS bullshit. OD. I'm trying to think of what OD would stand for.
Blue Screen of Death Gaming. Think it that way.
Yeah. There you go.
Remember, if you guys, I wonder, like, I'm surprised you haven't tried to decipher my username yet, Inquisitor. Spoiler alert, it's actually pretty disappointing. Maybe one day I'll tell you the backstory behind why I'm called Papa G, but it's not very interesting.
I take it has nothing to do with Father Gascoigne from Bloodborne.
It actually doesn't. No, I'm afraid not. Papa G is actually a nickname I have in real life, and that got a nickname years before Bloodborne ever came out. Speaking of like PlayStation 4 games, should we talk about the new God of War game coming out? That is apparently getting really good reviews.
Look at this. She's terrified. What are you doing?
Okay.
It's kind of funny.
So I'm watching the video right now of the emulator, and it looks like
She's not
the computer has to override a lot of the settings that the game has for it to work.
Yeah. So it's technically playable. That's the best I can say about it right now.
It's a goddamn invasion.
Be a little different than is
So,
what
like,
there's.
I'm guessing by technically you mean like it's pretty like not in the great. It's like 10 frames a second, but like technically you can play it. Is that right? Or that
You can get into game for a while as long as you use
Render. So I'm looking at the main menu. Some of the settings. Okay, so the motion blur's taking a shit here, but some of the lighting settings I'm seeing here, like the ambient lighting, is completely out the window right now.
I'll explain in the car.
that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. Like right now, it's
I was gonna go over to the gameplay part here.
probably a very early.
Holy
version.
shit! Yeah, so
it's early.
yeah, a vast amount of the settings, like the graphical effects, are non-existent in the emulator. The motion blur apparently is so intense that it's almost like trying to run. It's almost like trying to run Crysis on a 2004 machine.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
No. My car.
that bad, huh?
They're patrolling the parking lot. Oh god, that's
Well, at least it's something. It's better.
Even
than,
he
like,
said he's speeding it up 300%, so he must be getting like 2 frames a second right now.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, I can't even imagine. Well, actually, I can imagine. I've experienced 2 frames a second.
And at some point the game just crashes.
They don't call it even.
I remember.
So it's like the very earliest build that gets it working.
And this is the PS3 emulator.
Here.
Mm-hmm.
You'll need
Yes.
Hey Jack. Be careful. Yeah. Okay. I will.
So, still though, like it's a start and stuff, and like I'm sure from here they're planning on making improvements and like making it better and better and stuff. So that's something to look forward to going in the future. Out of curiosity, like since you guys are more familiar with emulation than I am, like judging on how it is right now,
Started to sense things.
I think it'll take for it to be in a more stable state, like a couple years or so, or.
It depends on how talented the programmers are that are making the emulator.
Good point.
They're quite talented from what I've seen.
Maybe they'll have.
I'm not knocking it. This is. I'm surprised they actually got this running. Because they're trying to. The hardware set that they're trying to emulate is so different. That's why we never thought that we would see this on PC. Videos where people were just streaming their PS3 screen onto their desktop and then claiming that they were emulating the games.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Have people really done that? That's
No,
really
they
funny.
wouldn't.
Well, they go to save their game and then it would show the PS3 UI saving the game to the hard drive. It's like, yeah, right, you're totally saving this on PC.
I wonder.
I could see it.
What about PlayStation Now? Is PlayStation Now available through a PC, right? So I guess technically.
But you're technically all your saves are being done in the cloud.
I see. Yeah.
Seen the past.
I mean,
Speaking of which,
Not only that, but PlayStation Now it doesn't even run at optimal settings. You're limited to 720p, and the gameplay only runs at 30 frames per second.
yeah. Speaking of which, has PlayStation Now gone better recently? Because like I tried it out a year ago and I thought it was pretty abysmal.
No, so I honestly couldn't tell you.
it would depend on your internet speed, really.
Fair enough. My internet has gone better since then. But like the very first time I tried it a year ago, I was like, wow.
Like, I know for a fact that they were able to extract the character models from this game onto the PC because you see like short little clips like from Gary's mod where they have Joel nodding his head and his creepy smile on his face.
Yeah.
That makes sense. They're also able to extract some files from PT, the playable teaser demo. You guys know what PT is.
Would still have that and be able to extract it. Like how the hell would you extract files from a demo that can't even be saved to a flash drive?
I don't know, but
Where
like
there's
they
a will,
did-
there's a way. Never underestimate that.
Yeah, I don't know how they did it, but they did it. One thing like apparently they're also able to find some like little details that are hidden in the files, like some sort of monsters that like were never shown to the public. So like that's a thing. Like I don't know how like some of these guys do it, but like some people on like that are involved in PC gaming are like incredible masters at this shit. Like I'm a pleb when it comes to PC gaming and stuff, so like I'm just like every time DolphinVi says like anything and stuff, I'm just like in awe because I like know next to nothing. Anyway, so what else do you guys want to talk about this evening, or at least never mind. I was gonna say.
I did what I said I would. I returned Far Cry. I took Far Cry 5 over to EB Games and got $50 of in-store credit for it.
It was that bad, was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got it, in my opinion, and you'll probably laugh, but I got a much better game by comparison.
What is
that was also much cheaper.
What was it?
Warriors 2.
Say again?
Dragon Quest Warriors 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard I haven't heard much about. I've heard the name Dragon Quest builders and stuff. But like, I don't know.
There's Dragon Quest Warriors 2.
Oh, cool.
Both versions. Yeah, I got the first and second game. It's basically a Dragon Quest version of Dynasty Warriors, but done much better, considering now that Dynasty Warriors is basically homogenized themselves.
Fair enough. I'm sorry for the people at home. The last podcast that we didn't release, Inquisitor mentioned that he was really disappointed with Far Cry 5's
map editor.
Map editor, yeah. In fact, you actually said Far Cry 2 had a better map editor. Was that right? Is that right, Inquisitor?
Made a whole bunch of maps in the Far Cry 2 editor.
Yeah.
Does Far Cry 5 at least have Far Cry 3 map editor?
Well, it uses it's Far Cry 4's map editor, and it uses assets from Far Cry 4, Far Cry 3, from Assassin's Creed. You have assets from Watch Dogs. So yeah, like in terms of assets, they got a shit ton. And then you got assets from Far Cry Primal you can put in your maps. So like in terms of content, the editor is amazing, but like just the overall
design of the editor.
Yeah, it's the editor itself and its inability to like cope with clipping that seems to be the issue.
Yeah, it doesn't live up to your standards of what a map editor should be.
That makes sense though, because like
something I've been meaning to ask: does it have any Final Fantasy 15 content in the map editor? No, it's Ubisoft and Square Enix have been doing this kind of crossover thing lately. I've been wondering.
Yeah.
To the point that Arden actually appears in Assassin's Creed Origins.
And they had this big weird. They had a weird Assassin's Creed festival in Final Fantasy 15 for a while.
I'm actually gonna take a look at that. I haven't played that far into the game yet. I haven't.
The thing with Final Fantasy 15, I think they technically removed it. I think there's only like a timed thing that they might bring back at one point.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting Assassin's Creed Origins there, because apparently Arden makes a cameo.
Yeah, I looked it up online, and he does. Like, apparently in some dungeon... Like, is it right if I spoil this, or should I not spoil this?
Well, I've already kind of spoiled it anyway, so go ahead.
Apparently, like, you're in, like, some, like, underground, like, pyramid temple, and, like, apparently Arden, like, appears briefly as a ghost, and then just kind of shoots up in the sky. And so, like, he does appear briefly, and then you get some sort of weapon from Final Fantasy 15 or something. So it's, like, really weird. And, like, because, like, what I'm trying to wonder, does that mean, like, Final Fantasy 15 takes place in another universe that's connected to the Assassin's Creed universe? Or, like, what does this mean? Or, like, does this mean nothing?
I don't know. I have to ask Rick Sanchez how that works. He would know.
He probably would.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the beginning of the Assassin's Creed and Final Fantasy cinematic universe.
Why not? They've already done that old crossover with them anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe Arden will return in Assassin's Creed Infinity War.
Yeah. Manipulating the Templars. That was the plot twist all along.
Yeah.
So he could kill the
Arden,
world.
it was his fault.
Can we get an Assassin's Creed multi-Python edition?
Sure, why not? It's like we'll just have make it happen, Ubisoft. Like I'll pay if Ubisoft ever makes that.
The Apple of Eden, we could have like the holy hand grenade.
I don't know. That reminds me.
Or
the
great mighty beast can be a rabbit.
In Fallout New Vegas.
Actually, that's a joke in Dragon's Crown.
That's also a joke in Fallout New Vegas. You can actually find some grenades that say holy hand grenades on them.
The enemies in Dragon's Crown, depending on the path you take, is actually a killer rabbit.
That's pretty funny.
There's this giant pile of Templar bodies.
Oh, that'd be hilarious if Assassin's Creed game did something like that, where there's a bunch of Templars surrounded by a ginormous dead rabbit.
Where did that come from?
If that ever happens in Assassin's Creed game, it'll become an automatic 10 out of 10, no matter what the content is.
Oh man, no, I'd love to see, like, is there a leveling system in Assassin's Creed or what?
I think in some of the later ones, yeah.
That looks like a way up.
In this secret area in like a forest or whatever, and they say like recommended for high level players, and it turns out there's this little you can see this little bunny rabbit in the distance like hopping around. You try to approach him and he just tears your head off or something.
That's really funny. I haven't heard of that. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah. The killer white rabbit of doom. It'll bathe itself red with your blood.
That's no ordinary rabbit. That's the cruelest, foulest, most bad-tempered little rodent you ever laid eyes on.
Well, there is some truth to it. I mean, my dog got attacked by a white rabbit. Ripped its nose apart.
It's funny, it's a little dark, but like, my pets have kind of had an interesting relationship with rabbits. Like, I have 2 dogs and a cat at home. Like, I know that sounds like a weird combination, but screw you. But like, anyway, and like at my old house, one thing that my dog and cat would do, or one of my dogs and my cat would do, is they would actually team up and like hunt down rabbits, and like they would just leave them as gifts for me and like my family to find. So they saw like gifts or something, but like it like horrified us, and it was like, this is terrible. Okay, I'm so sorry. That was really awkward.
Oh, that's
This is the Dark Souls of podcast. That's our game of being awkward.
Yeah. So anyway, you want to talk about what's been in the news recently involving like the PlayStation 5?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
yeah. Isn't it being rumored to come out either late this year or next year, or next year? I think that's kind of bogus, but
Yeah, I think it is too. But like there are rumors floating around about that. I've also heard rumors that maybe some dev kits might have been sent out to some people, which
That I can believe.
yeah, that I can believe. But like it coming out in 2018 or 2019, I find it kind of hard to believe.
yeah, like dev kits, I can easily see that happening because you want them to be able to make some good software by the time it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially considering that you might want to have like some games and stuff available for it. That's like one of the big problems with a lot of consoles they first launch is like the amount of games they have. So hopefully, like if the PlayStation 5 launches in the future, like they'll have a decent amount of games for it. Oh yeah, here's one rumor involving it. I've been wondering. Apparently, one rumor is that it will have VR goodies, or that it'll have VR baked into the system or something. And like that sounds like, I'm really wondering what could that mean. Except does that mean like it'll come like bundled with VR stuff? Does that mean like VR will be part of the system. Like, what does that mean?
Well, technically, you could say that the PS4 came with VR in the system because it supports the VR headset.
Fair enough. But it's like maybe it'll be
The,
available.
the headset itself is the only thing you really need. All you need is some hardware that's strong enough to do VR with whatever fidelity you're looking to do.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you have wait a minute. I think I asked you this on another podcast. Never mind. I was gonna ask you like what your thoughts on VR is, but I think you said it on a different podcast, right?
Will, you alright?
So, ask me the question again.
Have I asked you in the past what your thoughts on VR is, or?
It's interesting. I mean, like VR headsets here in Canada are still a shit ton of cash. Like they cost $370. They basically cost $400 for us to get.
I don't own one. Like me and DolphinVi briefly talked about this on a different podcast, but it's like, to me, it's kind of cool, but like right now it feels kind of like maybe not unnecessary, but like kind of like I don't know, like it feels like
Version you want to have in your game.
Yeah, most of them just a lot of the games from what I've seen seem like either tech demos or whatnot. There's a couple of them that look like good games and whatnot, and like I definitely like would hope to see it like grow and stuff and whatnot for the future because I think like I'm all for innovation.
Well, I will say this: like 3D was a gimmick, then VR was just a natural progression from 3D.
Fair enough. I do wonder like I don't think VR is gonna like take over gaming anytime soon. I don't think like anytime soon we're only gonna be playing on VR headsets. Like what's probably gonna be is like for a while at least another section of gaming and whatnot. Like if that makes any sense, you know what I mean? Like you got regular gaming and then like it's sort of VR is like another category altogether. I guess I already you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Who is she? She knows
I know.
Trust her.
Like
Glad you trusted somebody.
I think you said it perfectly, DolphinVi, like in a different podcast where like it feels like it doesn't feel like you need to have VR. Like you said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's good
Like,
to have, but you don't need it.
Like
If it becomes cheaper and easier to get the equipment and easier to develop, I can see it doing a lot more.
I should know though I haven't tried it out yet. Although my sister's boyfriend apparently has a VR headset, so next chance I'm over at their house, I'll give it a try. Maybe I'll be blown away by VR then, and like VR is the future and whatnot. But like, even then, like I think it's right to be skeptical on it, you know, because it's like been like what has been a couple years since VR first launched. I mean, to be fair,
VR's been around for decades, but like it hasn't really taken off in the gaming realms till recently.
Yeah. To be fair though, like with a lot of big, I think it takes a while for a lot of things to get big, or like for a lot of things to become really innovative. In that word I'm trying to say, innovative. Yes, that's the word.
Yeah.
Well, like I'm pretty like for the longest time, computers were just like ginormous. Like this is like going back like years and years ago, but like back in the day, like when computers were first around, they were like big, giant things that were like only like big scientists were able to use and whatnot.
Big, giant, film-based, basically.
Come with me and we can see this through.
So, and like nowadays, PCs are like incredibly common. Like it'd be strange if you came across them without a PC, but so like maybe 10, 15 years from now, like it'll be incredible. Like VR will be incredibly common.
It doesn't have to
You never know.
We can't just let this happen.
Like,
Yeah, I think VR might. I mean, I don't know. I might get a VR headset if I ever manage to save up enough cash. I might get a refurbished one just because I'm cheap that way.
well, I'm personally not planning on getting one anytime soon because I'm a cheapskate. Like I like trying to spend as little money as possible, except for a couple of times where I like just splurge on Like, most of the stuff I spend money on is things that are, like, important and whatnot, so, like school supplies or food, water, things to live.
Because Papa G's a good boy.
Yeah, I'm a good boy, and then every once in a while, when, like, I haven't spent a lot of money for a while, I'll, like, go on a splurge, I'll be like, okay, I'll buy a couple things that are decently expensive. So, like, right now, like, VR is, like, not for someone like me, definitely.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You guys can call me a cheapskate, and you guys would probably be right.
You're not a cheapskate.
I probably am, but
No,
I'm proud
I
of
you're
you.
a smart consumer. You wait until it's good and ready for you to get into.
Yeah. Anyway, you have anything else to say in VR, or should we move on to a different topic?
We could probably go to a new topic.
Actually, now that we're discussing VR, that's probably a good segue into Final Fantasy 15 that has VR in it. It's coming out with new DLC that can include a new ending.
Yeah, I
That
only
isn't
found
hopelessly depressing and slap in the face as the original one.
like, I knew there was going to be new DLC coming, but,
Beaten the
like,
game yet, so I guess I.
It really is. One thing I do find funny, I mentioned this to DolphinVi before the podcast began, and, like, that's sort of, like, I appreciate, I don't know how to feel about, like, Square Enix, like, constantly adding new content, whether it's for free or DLC, to Final Fantasy 15. Like, on one hand, like, it's kind of pro-consumer, and, like, maybe with Final Fantasy 15 there's more of it, but at the same time, I can't help but wonder if it's, like a bit of if it's, well, like, it probably is out of desperation, because they probably spent a fortune on the game, and whatnot. But, like, I can't help but, like, sometimes feel like, if, like, I can't help but wonder if, like, they're really desperate to please people or everyone. Like, you got, like I mentioned earlier, like, we got, like, the Assassin's Creed Festival, where for the PC version, like, you can dress up as Gordon Freeman. It's like, it's almost becoming like a whore, where it's like, it'll, like, do whatever it takes to, like, make money.
Which is fine by me. I mean, I'm fine with wielding a crowbar in battle. I like that part.
Yeah, and, like, I'm not knocking it. Like, I'm like, in a way, it's kind of like ideal, because they probably spent a crap load of money on it and need to make more than a crap load back. And, like, and besides, like, if people like it, then why not? It's just, like, it's just like it's just very funny to me, because it's like some of these things, like, seem like things that would be jokes or things that people would dream of, like Final Fantasy Pocket Edition or Assassin's Creed Festival crossover, but these are, like, things they're actually doing. It's like your wildest fanfic dreams are becoming reality.
Sir, who is this? Amy Ferrero.
Like, I wonder if, like how far they'd be willing to go. Like, they'd be willing to have Gordon Freeman, like, just pop up as a temporary squad mate in the game to make him enough money.
I don't know. I think it'd be funnier if you're playing Assassin's Creed and then you see this little head crab running along the tiles of the roof. Lamar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would be pretty funny. That would be part of the cinematic universe then. Like, Half-Life is part of the Assassin's Creed. So, like, Half-Life will be part of the cinematic universe.
I thought Half-Life was part of Portal's universe.
Well, Portal will be involved too. Like,
No, Portal is part of Half-Life's universe. That's different.
Well, Portal, Half-Life, Assassin's Creed, and Final Fantasy 15 all take place in the same universe and stuff. Not all on the same planet, just, like, they all take place in relatively in the same universe and stuff. And, like, they all come together and they all need to fight, like, I don't know.
That's like saying Star Wars is real. It just takes place in one of the other galaxies.
Maybe we can throw Star Wars in too. You know what? Like, people should be paying me money. Where's my $1 billion cinematic franchise? I'm coming up with these ideas, and like a Half-Life and what crossover with Assassin's Creed and whatnot. Like, where's our $1 billion? Okay, we need to make a movie right now. Right?
Well, for all you know, they rip off fan fiction ideas all the time.
Yeah, fair enough.
They just don't say anything because then it's technically copyright.
Yeah.
I mean, a better ending for Final Fantasy 15. This is hardly the first time anyone's had that idea.
Yeah. Is it gonna be a paid DLC or is it gonna be like free? Is it gonna be like the new ending?
Well, we haven't learned yet. I believe it's gonna be free though for those who bought the Royal Edition.
Okay.
Pretty much like.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, a better ending. I'd pay for that even if it was paid.
I wouldn't. I don't want I don't want Azura's Wrath to happen again. Thank you very much.
Do you know about Azura's Wrath, DolphinVi?
I've heard of it. Never really played it.
With Azura's Wrath, what happened was like the game was technically complete, but like it ended on a cliffhanger. And if you want to know the resolution to the cliffhanger, you had to buy the DLC. And like when you get down to it, like there really wasn't a lot of excuses as why the DLC couldn't have been in the game. So that's what Inquisitors are referring to.
Let's talk about the dry dock incident. Monarch
But anyway, with this DLC, it's just actually give people a happy ending rather than that complete garbage that Final Fantasy 15 gave.
You were secure.
Oh.
Speaking of garbage endings, hey BioWare.
Yeah.
I was actually just thinking that. Hilarious.
Yeah. Hey, oh, that's where Final Fantasy got the idea from. You do tons of tough choices and you die at the end anyway.
I think Mass Effect 3's ending was the most disappointed I've ever been.
Yeah. You get to choose which Instagram filter goes over the ending.
Like, the extended cut ending that they released made things ever so slightly better, but it's still kind of shitty. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just, like, maybe it's still, like, I've heard some people saying the extended cut actually makes it worse. And, like, maybe it does, but I'm just, like, I don't know. Maybe I was just too traumatized at the time.
Traumatized? My god. How bad was it?
You don't know how bad it was?
Oh, I mean, I knew the endings were bad, but to be traumatized by it? Good god.
Well, like, I'm exaggerating a bit there. I'm, like, exaggerating a bit for comedic effect, but, like, it was pretty god-awful and probably one of the worst video game endings ever. It was just kind of, it was like, I guess part of the problem was, like there was, like, part of the ending was they just introduced this character, and, like, it brought, like, the ending brought up it brought up answered questions that didn't really need answering, and the answers kind of brought in plot holes, and on top of that, like we were promised, like, totally different endings.
It's as if it's basically like if George Lucas released Star Wars the way he originally made it.
No, that would probably his version would probably be better than that.
See, no, okay, you have to go look up some documentaries on how George Lucas originally directed Star Wars. He actually had to call in a woman, friend of his, to completely rewrite the script.
I actually do know about that. There's a great video on it, I think, there's a great video online called How Star Wars is Saved in the Edit that goes into also a decent amount of detail on that sort of stuff. So like yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was like I think the biggest thing that pissed a lot of people off at the time of release was that there was really no difference between the endings and when the game was being marketed, there was this big thing where like your endings will be completely and utterly different, and it just a choice between different colors. And like I said, the extended cut kind of fixed that by adding some differences here and there and stuff, and it kind of fixed it, but at the same time, it didn't
then
really,
there's more, and it pretty much every ending proves at least one major Mass Effect villain right. I was like, why would we bother finding them? It's the merging with machines ending that proves Saren right. The destroy all the machines ending, well, that kind of proves the Reapers right. That machines and humans just can't get along, and control them proves the elusive man right.
Well,
I was like, why were we even fighting these guys? They were right all along. Our actions don't confirm that.
Well, like, in minor defense, to be fair, Saren was indoctrinated, and he was just didn't really know what the heck he was talking about.
Beating around the bush, Saren was a dick.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a dick. Like,
I mean,
It's like, the thing is, like-
emphasize that. I think it is the game over music in the first game. It's actually Saren's theme, so the game actually indoctrinates you to hate him from the very beginning. Oh, that's clever. Yeah,
Anyway,
the game
but,
is indoctrinating you.
But like, this is the thing. Like the thing is, even if like Saren and the Elusive Man were right, it doesn't change the fact that you had to stop them. Because even if they did have their way, the Reapers would win. You know what I mean? Because they were indoctrinated and whatnot.
Yeah, but if that the Elusive Man was never actually on the station when you talked to him.
Fair enough. But it's like
The theory actually goes pretty far back, and the idea is that actually indoctrinated early on in the first game, and is like that for the rest of the series.
I talking about the Commander Shepard indoctrination theory.
Indoctrination theory, yeah.
I have to be honest, I never believed that theory because like there's so many. To me, there's like so.
A good reason behind it though, and it's like the way Shoddycast proposed it, because he basically says that in certain key points in the games, you hear this weird noises that he should clearly not be hearing.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I'm not saying there isn't any merit to this theory. It's just like, I don't know, like it's been a while since I really like combed. It's been a while since I really looked over the indoctrination theory and stuff, so I won't remember everything. But like,
Yeah.
to me, like I don't know, like
It
it's
saves
cool
me
as a
from
fan
admitting
theory,
the
but,
game
like,
was just badly made.
what I'm trying to say is it's a cool. What I'm trying to say is it's a cool theory, but I think if it were, I think saying it's true would be giving them too much credit. And I used to be and this is coming from someone who's a huge fan of some of the earlier BioWare games.
Yeah, we have to admit.
Speaking of remasters and remakes, where's Jade Empire?
Well, that's a good point. Where is Jade Empire? Maybe it's off like maybe BioWare doesn't care.
Awesome RPG. I actually had an original Xbox with that game.
Oh. I was curious, like what happened? What is the plot of Jade Empire? I've never actually played it.
God, so much to go through. I can't really explain it in one podcast.
Fair enough. Maybe we could do another maybe we can do a podcast dedicated to that at some point.
Empire was a huge game.
Anyway, so I have a question, DolphinVi. Like, do you think Mass Effect is overall which do you think was the best Mass Effect game out of curiosity?
Mass Effect 2.
Fair enough.
That was one where it became more like, this is a galaxy-wide shooting game.
Yeah.
It's not like the first Mass Effect where they tried to make the combat as difficult as possible and just focus too much on trying to be an RPG.
Yeah. Played good, but like the exploration was actually pretty nice too. It wasn't just a big square of randomly generated terrain for your...
Yeah, but at least they got rid of the car in number 2. I hated that thing.
For me and stuff, the funny thing is, like, it's been a while since I played the Mass Effect trilogy and stuff, but, like, in terms of, like, I'm not talking about story or whatnot, but in terms of gameplay, I think Mass Effect 3 was my favorite, because, like, I was always bothered by, like, how a lot of stuff in Mass Effect 2 were kind of locked behind DLC, like, a lot of equipment and whatnot were locked behind DLC. Like,
if I was to put them in order, or if I was to give them individual awards, I'd say Mass Effect 1 for establishing the universe, Mass Effect 2 for gameplay and story, Mass Effect 3 for graphics.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, I don't know, like, maybe I'm being nostalgia blind, but I kind of liked I remember really liking Mass Effect 3 when I first played it, except for, like, the ending. And I kind of liked some of the DLCs, but, like, I don't know, like, maybe I'll replay it and be like, "Wow, this is awful." So I do
like some of the combat aspects of Mass Effect 3.
And it's like, I don't know, like I remember some parts of the story being good in Mass Effect 3. I don't know, DolphinVi. Like, do you think Mass Effect 3? What do you think of Mass Effect 3 story overall? Out of curiosity, DolphinVi.
I'll be right back, guys. Just gonna go do some.
It does a pretty good setup at the end. It just craps all over itself.
I think like it's weird and stuff. For me, I think like it definitely I think had a good setup like with Mass Effect 3. Like, and I seem like what I'm trying to say is like over like do you think like what I'm trying to ask is do you think Mass Effect was a good game up until the ending, or do you think it was like still a flawed game even before the ending?
No, it was a good game up till the
None of
ending.
this is your fault.
Fair enough.
I'm just glad you're okay.
I'm sort of 50-50
Well, I guess
on it because,
apart till the whole Harbinger scene.
yeah.
Remember
Like,
the Harbinger where it's firing lasers and you have to run towards it? It's
Yeah,
improved. You can
fair.
just walk towards it slowly like a Sunday stroll. You will not get hit.
Yeah, I know, that's really funny.
I need to
Wait.
get to the dry docks.
Anyway, like like I don't know, I really will have to replay the Mass Effect trilogy again at one point because like it's been so long. Like I remember a lot about it really vividly, but like in order to really like confirm my like here's the thing, like I feel like I'm really confident in what I have to say about Mass Effect to talk about it right now, but I really want to go back and stuff and see if there's anything new I'd have to say. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because like there are some things that I like. There's like there are some games where like there's a lot of things I've like seen from my past where like I have either replayed it or rewatched it and like I still liked it, but like I still either had new complaints or like I've had new things to say about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like because I remember parts of Mass Effect 3. Even though overall like Mass Effect 3, I remember there were parts of it I wasn't really like a fan of, or like there's some ideas that were kind of weird in my opinion.
Yeah.
So like, it's like it's really, and like why is it like? I think maybe maybe Bioware was made specifically to be a metaphor for real life, to me. Like how because like I used to be the biggest fan of Bioware, and like now over the years they've just kind of gone to shit. So I wonder if that's supposed to be. I wonder if Bioware was specifically. I wonder if Bioware was specifically made for me and stuff to show me early on that life just gets more disappointing the more you go along. Maybe Mass Effect, maybe it was all maybe Bioware went to shit purposely as all part of some sort of metaphor.
You really want to open that can of worms?
Maybe you're just looking too far into it.
I am looking too far into it.
I mean, it'd be interesting if that was the case, but I doubt it.
Tried to explain. Time is
You know what? I would love if Mass Effect did. They're probably never gonna do this and stuff, especially since Mass Effect Drama did so poorly. But it would be awesome if they ever did a prequel game that like took place during like the Turian War or something. Like I would like love it if like if they did a game like that. Yeah, like I think it'd be like a really interesting thing. What do you think?
Wait, could you say that again? The game audio is distracting me.
It'd be interesting if they made like a Mass Effect game, but like it was a prequel, like it was based in like during the Turian War or something, and like maybe you came across Anderson, maybe you didn't, but like it was just like it would just like be really interesting because you get to like see how like humanity first discovered aliens and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So make it during the first contact war. That would be interesting.
Starting to get the hang of this.
Yeah. Anyway, what else is going on? Okay, should we wait till Inquisitor comes back to talk about anything new, or should we just move along to a different topic?
Well, if we look at a different topic, we can talk about your first exposure to Final Fantasy and how traumatized you were by it.
Oh yeah, I mean, once again, everyone. Previous podcast I discussed this, but it sadly got cut out. My very first exposure to Final Fantasy, period. Like my first exposure at all to anything Final Fantasy related was the opening scene to Final Fantasy X-2. And like, in retrospect, I find that really funny because like that opening is kind of like really weird and kind of like kind of what's the word? What would you call it, DolphinVi? Betrayal.
I know.
Very sad. It's why you were traumatized so badly that you turned into a platypus.
Yeah. And
Yeah, so it actually wasn't me, it was Final Fantasy that turned Papa G into a platypus.
yeah. it was weird. It was funny because I like. I think the reason why I was saw 10-2 cutscene first, I think is because like when I was really young, my sister would play video games and I didn't really. Nowadays it's the complete reverse. But like because of that, like my sister for some reason wanted to play 10-2 first. Maybe it's because like it was like an all girl cast or something. And but like anyway, and because of those exact, and it's just because of those exact circumstances, I was exposed to 10-2 opening cutscene first, and it's just so funny to me. Hey, Inquisitor, I was just like,
hi, sorry, I'm back.
How I was traumatized.
When he shows his face, I'll make him do the same.
Is Inquisitor back, or did I mishear that?
Yeah, I think he's back.
Or I was away for a few seconds.
That's okay. I was talking about how I was telling the people at home again that my very first exposure to Final Fantasy at all was 10-2. Another fun fact was like my first exposure to like most of Nintendo characters was actually through Smash Brothers and stuff. Like I learned about like all the Nintendo stuff afterwards. My very first exposure to anything like Nintendo related was like Smash Brothers, and like it's kind of funny because like I remember seeing at a time like who are all these people, and then like I like learned like over the years learned more and more about them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as far as Smash Brothers characters go, my first introduction to Pokemon was probably like the cards, and then I got to see like the Game Boy games.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. I think with me, my first intro to Pokemon, I think was Pokemon Pinball.
Really? That's...
Yeah, that's an actual game. You can look it up.
Well, I believe you.
Yeah, like that makes sense.
A game, or was that a console game?
I think it was a Game Boy game.
Okay.
Anyway, like, so before you wrap up, you wanna, so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I remember,
Well, were we gonna wrap up yet?
no, we don't have to wrap up yet.
I'm sure Steve, the clipboard, still has some other topics to talk about.
Fair enough,
But, Papa G, what are your thoughts on the next PlayStation 5 might have Zen architecture CPU in it?
Oh yeah, that's right, we didn't talk about
it
that.
could very well have Vega-style graphics as well.
What are your thoughts on that, Inquisitor?
Well, I thought they were going to be using originally, I thought they were going to use Vulkan, but or that's the API. Maybe I got this mixed up.
That's the API thinking of that. Zen is an architecture similar to Ryzen CPUs.
Okay.
CPU that's kind of in my computer right now. I think it's mostly good for productivity, but it's very decent at games.
Right. How cheap or expensive these components are now, we might, the time that this console itself is released.
Like, are you saying you're worried it might be outdated by the its release?
I'm saying the price might go down by the time the console's released.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So it's probably be a custom Ryzen processor that goes into a PlayStation 5 then.
If they release that shit within the next 6 months or a year, I guarantee it'd be more than $600.
Yeah. That's why I don't understand why people like are like, I don't know, like maybe there's things that people know that I don't know, but like just to me, like from a business standpoint, like I think to release a PlayStation 5 in 2018 or heck even 2019 would be like
business suicide.
Yeah, like business suicide. Like to me, like I can't think of like any like.
Microsoft's on the verge of business suicide if they release a new Xbox again.
Fair enough. It's like unless Sony has something cooking that's super big that we don't know about, which is entirely possible. Like like releasing the PlayStation 5 and either this or next year, I think is like a really stupid idea. Like I wonder though, like what do you guys? I am wondering though, like, feel of if like the PlayStation 5 or whatnot. This is just hypothetical. Like, I'm not saying I heard this somewhere. This needs to be hypothetically. How do you guys feel if like the PlayStation 4 allowed you to sort of upgrade the hardware of it, sort of like the PC allows you to? Like, the reason why
My question about that would be: is the hardware itself going to be proprietary?
Yeah, it would have to be.
To that console, or is it going to use open source? Like, I guarantee you, if it tried to use open source parts, like say custom, like say you wanted to go out and buy like an NVIDIA or AMD GPU, I guarantee you the functional conflict that would arise from that would be tremendous. So if there's going to be any upgradable parts, it would have to be proprietary.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then there's how far you can really go with the games when they, in a sense, have to be held back because they've got to support the base hardware. And there could be any number of upgradable hardware up there. I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't be done, but you can already see there's some pretty big
Unless the
problems
games
you
are
have
designed
to
in a
get
way
over
where
with.
unless the games are designed in a way where they have settings that can be scaled to base hardware and then upwards from there. But even that would just force people to try and up the settings, and then their systems would be slogging, and there'd be complaints all around anyway.
Yeah.
So
I'm
you'd
like,
also have
and
to
I'm
have
wondering.
proprietary power supplies as well, which they might skip that for the, I think the power brick that the Xbox had. So I mean, there's plenty of structural problems with it, but it could conceivably be
Xbox's
done.
space heater.
Yeah.
It's practically a space heater for your living room.
Either way, like I just wanted to bring it up just because like I've been thinking about it and like I was wondering like if they were to do something like that, would that be a good thing or a bad thing and stuff? Because like it would give you more options, but like you guys said, like there might be more of a thing for like developers that have to worry about getting that baseline more and more and whatnot. But like I don't know. I mean, like I'm not a fan of the Scorpio and stuff, but like one thing that can be said is like games, from what I can tell, well, not all games, but some games run well on it. So I don't know. I guess it really depends on like what they do with. It really depends on the developer and stuff, and like how they choose to optimize their game on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
My question is, like, would you guys want that and stuff, or do you think, like, you would rather just have it as is?
So right now, I'd say consoles are better as is.
Yeah, I think I agree.
We're better off with getting a base set-top box and possibly... You guys hear that?
Hear what?
Yeah.
Partial to a set-top box when it comes to game consoles. I don't think upgradable hardware is really something that bachelors or teenagers in their in their bedrooms with like pizza and garbage everywhere would really be able to handle having
Yeah,
delicate hardware laying around.
I mean, upgrading it would also have to be really, really streamlined as well.
Yeah.
I could totally see Nintendo doing it, having some sort of Lego-based Raspberry Pi style kind of thing going on,
well,
where kids can.
They've done it before. Remember, I think it was the Nintendo 64.
I love the wording of how.
In order to play certain games, you had to put an attachment on it. So it has technically been done before, but no, that's Nintendo. They can get away with it because Nintendo.
Anyone would have upgradable consoles that young people could work with. That'd be Nintendo.
I love the way you phrased it, like raspberry.
Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pi.
I just love the way you phrased that. It just for some reason, it sounded so funny to me.
Have you heard of the Raspberry Pi microcomputer?
No, I have not.
Have you not been listening to Explaining Computers, Papa G? I'm so disappointed in you.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go listen to explainingcomputers.com then.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Go look it up. Educate yourself.
I will. I'll look up explaincomputers.com. I will. Okay.
Yeah. Or just
Anyway,
Explaining Computers, the YouTube channel.
So anyway, that's our thoughts on like upgradable consoles. The reason why I asked you guys is because I'm pretty like indifferent on it. Like I don't know really what to feel. Like I just want good games. That's all I care about. I just as long as I wake up tomorrow and there's at least a couple games. As long as there's at least 2 or 3 good games that come out each year, I'm pretty satisfied.
Well, Sony's been putting out more than just 2 or 3 games a year lately.
So, like, I'm saying, like in terms of like 2 or 3, for me and stuff. What I'm trying to say is like normally there's more than that, but like if I have as little as like 2 or 3 good new games that come out like in a year and stuff that are like brand new and stuff, I normally am satisfied because like I don't just play brand new games. I also like playing like older games and whatnot. But speaking of Sony and a new game, like the new God of War is coming out in a couple days.
Would you believe I didn't actually pre-order it?
Really?
Well, after the different way it is, I can believe that. I mean, is the difference
a
good thing or a bad thing yet? I don't know.
Getting the game. The thing is, the game that I did pre-order is, and you're gonna laugh, Warhammer 40k Inquisitor for PS4.
Why would we laugh at that? Why would we laugh at that?
Hey, never mind.
I haven't heard nothing. But like why would we laugh at that?
Since like the name of my YouTube channel and the name of the game would go kind of well together.
Now I get it. Oh my god, I can't believe that. I am fully retarded. I can't believe it took me this long to really get the joke. Now I get it.
You're not retarded, you're a platypus. You can't help yourself.
Same thing. Anyway, so like the new God of me and DolphinVi have aired our concerns about the new God of War game in the past. If you watched one of our earlier podcasts,
as I say, the God of the Last of Us is why we call it.
I'm
not trying to hate on it, and I'm sure it'll be.
It's not like The Last of Us was the first to have snowy forests with bows and arrows.
No, we're saying it's similar to Last of Us because it's like a father-child story, and it seems to be going for a more cinematic, serious emotional experience and whatnot.
And traveling to some distant location with the occasional enemy in the way. And with helping each other get across puzzles.
I remember seeing one trailer.
But no fungus-induced brain tumors.
If they were just a setting, you could replace them with anything. I mean, zombies are not the bad guys in The Last of Us, let's be honest.
Fungus. Cordyceps. Humans.
I could have one funny thing is I could have sworn there was also a puzzle that was ripped straight from a Naughty Dog game.
And in fact, to scare our audience, we actually use cordyceps in modern medicine right now. Yep, it's probably already inside of you.
It's I remember seeing there was one trailer where apparently the Kratos had to lift up the child and he had to like bring down some of the chain for Kratos to climb on. And I'm like, isn't there like a billion and two puzzles like that in The Last of Us? And like, all I can think is, how shameless are you guys gonna be?
I wouldn't call it shameless. It's just a puzzle mechanic. It's not like any other game that uses it should be accused of plagiarism or something.
That's true. I was mostly joking around. I'm not seriously. I'm not seriously claiming plagiarism.
There are people out there though that will they will do. Excuse me, they will do that. They'll try and penalize Santa Monica for his naughty dog.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry
yeah.
about that. Someone's at the door.
Yeah. Anyway, like I don't think I don't think they really plagiarized. I'm mostly joking around, but like it was funny for me because I was already like before I saw that trailer, I was already like I'm getting a lot of Last of Us vibes, and when I saw that, I was like, that's even like more Last of Us vibes and stuff. So it's just a stupid joke and stuff. I don't actually think they ripped them off or anything. And so I think that'd be stupid.
Well, even
to
if
say they
Sony
ripped them off.
did, they kind of have the right to.
But anyway, like I myself am like kind of like I yeah, words. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, Inquisitor. But me personally, I'm kind of like skeptical of the new God of War game just because it's like, yeah, no, like to be fair, I'm not a big God of War fan, but like if I was what I'm trying to wonder is like
It doesn't feel like a God of War game.
Like
I mean,
didn't
where's the one-dimensional raging protagonist that's just slaughtering the crap out of everything?
And like I'm not saying like it's bad that they're going that direction. If they want to go that direction, that's fine. But it's like it's kind of weird that like of all the directions they chose to go, they chose that one.
Well, let me put it this way: out of these two Spartans, which one do you think has more personality in his games, Master Chief or Kratos?
Which way's the dry dock?
Probably Master Chief. I don't know. I've only seen a little bit of both franchises, so from what I remember, I guess Kratos.
Paul's men had taken
I don't know.
briefcase from Will's car.
I'd have to really think about that. What about you, DolphinVi?
Will had said he needed something from his briefcase to stop the fraction.
I'm not sure. I mean, I guess
Wasn't much
with
there, but
Kratos, you kind of know what he's all about.
Very swimming.
I'm angry at the gods. I'm gonna kill the gods. Well, okay, not much, but it's something.
I guess
You know what he's all about.
At least he
you
has
know what
more.
he wants.
At least he has some emotion in his voice. The most you get from Master Chief is the occasional grunt.
I guess to me it's just weird because it would be like if you made to me and stuff it would be like if the reason why it seems weird to me because it's like to me it would be like if you made a sequel to Grand Theft Auto 5 and and in it you had Trevor and instead of like him being like the crazy psychopath, he was like a cuddly warm nice guy all of a sudden, you know what I mean? It is like
I probably I don't know. If Trevor came up to me all warm and cuddly, I'd probably call the cops.
Yeah, I'd probably I'd probably the thing is like I'd either run away or I'd just do whatever the heck he says depending on the situation. Like if I'm in a situation where I can't run away, and I'm forced to be with him, I just do whatever the
If
heck
you're
he
involved
says.
with Trevor, there is no running away.
In that case, I'd probably just do whatever he says and hope he dislikes me or something.
Hope he doesn't rape you in the process.
I would hope I would hope he would see me as a pet in a way. Like maybe he see me as some sort of like great pet or something that's like lovable and not worth raping or killing.
I'd like to give you a pond to swim in, and he gives you the pond full of the dead bodies that you know.
My point is and stuff is imagine if like Grand Theft Auto 6 came out and Trevor was like that with no explanation. Well, to be fair, I haven't played God of War yet, so maybe there'll be an explanation. But like, imagine that was the opening trailer. Like, I'm pretty certain like everyone would be like, where did this guy come from? Right? You know what I mean?
Well, we all know Kratos' story. I mean, up until now, I've basically covered his story in its entirety. The thing is, now he has a son.
Yeah.
He's in a completely different part of the world with a completely new pantheon.
What I have to wonder though is that how are there still people alive? Didn't the third game end with like literally the entire world being destroyed?
He spread hope to the world. Remember?
Yeah, he by offing himself, he somehow gave hope to the world.
Maybe it was an Adam and Eve situation where like, oh my god, it's really fucked up. But maybe.
And since he stabbed himself with the blade of Olympus, he kind of restored his own godlike power.
Yeah, maybe there was like everyone in the world was died, but one woman, and he just had sex with that one woman, and like he had sex over and over.
More
again.
like the world of Greece, because Greece is a pretty big place.
Yeah. Maybe the world repopulated since like God of War 3 maybe.
I think it mostly took place within the Greek, like
Within Greece, yeah.
The area we
within Greece, because you got to remember this is the Greek pantheon we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
In the Nordic pantheon, you got like the world serpent, you got Odin, and all that other stuff.
Yeah, but
Different.
Here's another question though. It's like
I mean,
what
maybe
I can
that
tell,
could be it.
from what I can tell though, like it seems like they're calling more from Norse mythology and whatnot, and like that's fine. You want to do something different, but if they're calling from Norse mythology, not Greece mythology, then why are they calling him God of War still? I mean, I guess Kratos and he is the God of War.
Yeah, and he's technically a god now
Even,
again.
even Norse mythology technically has a god of war.
Fair enough. It's like I don't know. It's like to me and stuff. Some things about it just seem a little weird and stuff. Like the way like in some of the gameplay trailers, the way the camera is like the way that it seems like something you'd see in a third-person shooter, and that just seems weird for like a game where it's like a hack and slash or something, you know? I don't know, like.
Oh, you gotta remember in the previous saga, all of his fights included weapons that were chained to his arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very different gameplay because the weapon is now it's no longer tethered to him. It's now this magic axe, I guess.
That comes back whenever he calls it. Yeah, gee, I wonder
It's kind of like
where
Mjolnir's.
they got that idea from. Thor.
Like the hammer.
If you've been giving them ideas.
I recognized Will's workshop as soon as I saw the old billboard on top.
But like, if you do end up playing it, like, be sure to let us know what you think of it.
It was clear that the workshop...
Playing it, I'll probably live stream the game.
Okay. A minute. Out of curiosity, are you looking forward to it, or like, are you just like like,
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the price of the game going down before I buy it. How's that?
That's me and pretty much everything.
Even Persona 5.
No.
I don't have Persona 5. It's still a bit too expensive for me.
Persona 5 is literally one of 2 games I pre-ordered. Like, I've only pre-ordered a game 2 times in my entire life, and Persona 5 is one of them.
Yeah, Persona 5 is pretty good. It's worth your money.
And you know what? Like, I don't regret it. Like,
and I don't say that lightly.
Yeah. Like, I really don't like pre-ordering games and stuff. Like, just generally as a rule, I don't do it just because, like, to me, the concept is just kind of, like... To me, the concept of pre-ordering is kind of stupid to me. And I'm paying you money for a product that won't come out for, like, months and months, or, like, depending on when it is and stuff. But, like, with Persona 5, like, that's one of, like I said, one of only 2 games I've ever pre-ordered. So, like, I'm still, for the most part, a good boy. Once I hit 3, then I'll strike out, but I haven't hit 3 yet. But, anyway, what else am I gonna talk about? Oh yeah, before we wrap up for the night, do you guys, like, want to, can I say one more thing about, like, there's one other thing I'd like to add to your video you made recently on Bitchute. Is that okay, Dolphin?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, you actually brought us up in the video, like, how you brought me up briefly when you said, like, you think, like, I'm wrong about, like, YouTube being able to change. I just wanted to add to that by saying, like, you're probably right that YouTube probably won't change, but, like, I can't help but, like, have this little bit of hope that, like, I can't help but, like, have this hope or, like, maybe this thought that if, like, Bitchute does get really big, YouTube will have to like at least pay attention, you know what I mean? But like I do admit like the changes that they have to do is probably too big and stuff, and like I'm probably
there are too many structural changes, and the fact that the SJW rot has spread too far into the company.
But, like I will admit I do think I'm a little naive in that sense, but like I can't help but like hope, you know?
Well, I can understand hope.
It's like, the thing is, what I'm worried about is that I'm worried what if Bitchute does topple the YouTube empire and then they're unopposed and stuff. and like how long will it take before they become just like YouTube? You know what I mean?
Well, the
Because,
moment they do that, they create their own competition, so I don't really mind.
Fair
I mean,
enough.
that's the thing about monopolies. No one cares about a monopoly until it starts acting like a monopoly. I mean, no one was talking about, hey, let's have this big alternative to YouTube until YouTube started acting like a bunch of dicks.
Yeah.
And same
Right.
with Patreon. No one cared that Patreon was the only one of its kind until Patreon started acting, you know, badly. It started kicking people off a wrong think or making pornographic art. Damn it.
I guess.
Now all of
but
a
it's
sudden
like-
there's all these alternatives to Patreon. When a monopoly acts like a monopoly, it makes its own competition, so I'm not worried about Bitchute taking down YouTube.
So like, but like you said in your video that you think that that it could topple the YouTube empire. So do
Yeah.
you still believe it? Oh, but you're not saying you think it will.
I recognize Will's workshop.
Out of all
as
the
soon as I saw
competitors to
the old building.
YouTube, I say Bitchute is the most
area we
viable.
refer to as Ground
Okay.
Zero.
It was clear
Yes.
that the workshop
Like
was
what I'm
unstable
hoping
while
is and stuff is that like
I
it's
wanted to see
just
what
like
and it seemed to be
yeah, like here's the thing, like like here's what I'm wondering, like do you guys want like in its current state, should we like say like in an ideal world, say tomorrow we can kill off YouTube and BitChute would be perfect and everything we want and there'd be no flaws.
If we had the ability to kill off YouTube, I think they'd be sucking our dick right now.
They would probably. They'd be putting all our videos like on top trending page 24/7. Like, you know, my point, what I'm trying to say is and stuff is like like it's like what I'm worried about is that like I'm sort of 50-50 on YouTube going under because say YouTube does go under because like it eventually fails and it can't support itself. Like, will that, on one hand, like, will that be a good thing or a bad thing? Because, like, on one hand, like, we'll still have these alternatives. On the other hand, there's still, like, a lot of creators on this site, both big and small, who might get hurt by that. So it's like, well, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, like, do you guys think YouTube should go under and stuff? Like,
Do I think they should go under? No, I mean, I don't think they should go under. Do they deserve to go under? Probably.
Yeah.
They need isn't to go under. I just think they need new management.
Yeah. It's just like, and like on some, like I said this in, again, I said this in the previous podcast that I cut, but like, that I'm like, on some level I can sort of see where YouTube is coming from. Like, I don't agree with some in any way, I want to make that clear. I don't agree with YouTube, but I'm not on their side. But on, like, from their perspective, I can kind of see where they're coming from. Where it's like YouTube is like the biggest thing ever. They have billions and billions of videos, and like it's hard to keep track of all of them. But at the same time, it's like it's obvious this current management what they're doing isn't working and stuff. And if they don't like do something soon, like sites like Bitchute or even YouTube are gonna like overrun them. And I'm like obviously I'm a big fan of YouTube. I mean DolphinVi's uploading this podcast to YouTube, but it's like just kind of like it's like really frustrating, like the lack of communication that YouTube has between creators and like people up there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, I guess like in a way it's understandable because like I said, billions upon billions of videos are uploaded every day. It's just like, I don't know. The fact that like not even like really big content creators like really big content creators except for like the really big ones like PewDiePie or something who get in contact with someone is just like it's really frustrating. I don't know. I'm not saying anything no one else has said, it's just I don't know.
So
It's
what
like-
is your biggest complaint with YouTube right now then? Let's get there.
I guess like hold on, I think my biggest complaint actually, like other than like the mistreatment of content creators, is like how I feel like it prioritizes videos. Like I feel like a lot of videos like will catch on or get trending or whatnot because they use certain catchy thumbnails or like they use certain manipulative things like you'll never believe what happened here or whatnot and stuff. And it's like I'm really annoyed that like stuff like that happens because like people like that, they don't have to really put that much effort into the video. They just have to like they just game the system, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, the only way to get your video really trending is to have a good amount of watch time on a video. I mean, this is such part of the YouTube algorithm. If people click your video and then just instantly click off 5 seconds later, YouTube won't promote it as much.
fair enough.
So
but
that's
like,
already covered, for the most part.
the thing though is like, you guys know the YouTuber Games Theory, right? Like, one thing about him is that he's actually, and this is he's talked about this, so, like he actually knows the YouTube system very well, and he's actually, I think, gone to smaller channels to help him out with like gaining the algorithm or whatnot.
Nice driving, guys.
And it's just, my annoyance about that is that the fact that like he's able to like, not that he's gaming the system, because like on some level I can respect that because people have to make money, but it's like the fact that people are so easily able to like game the YouTube system and like do this like all these bullshit trends so easily is just kind of frustrating to me. You know what I mean?
Technology for his men to move through stutters.
Like, I don't know, like it's probably not something you can like really change and stuff, but it's like something that's been like really bothering me recently. Like, what is your most annoying thing on Inquisitor? Like, that you're annoyed about with YouTube?
It's kind of a combination of a whole bunch of things. It's not just any one thing in particular.
Fair enough.
Like I can point out a bunch of little things, but it's not the little. It's not any one little thing that makes the big difference. It's all of them together that make the whole problem.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. Anyway, like, is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we sign off, or should we end the podcast here?
I don't know, is there any last thing you want to talk about?
Nothing that I personally can think of right now. Anything
Yeah.
you want?
Unless there's some big topic we can end the podcast with.
Is there anything you wanted to talk about, Inquisitor?
And
I think this is a good place to end off. I can't really think of anything that big that I really think we need to talk about. Yeah, I can't think of anything. So I think we should probably end it here. I think we did pretty good this week. I had a lot of fun, and
Ground zero.
No.
I look forward to next week. I've been
Yeah,
Pop
that part
G
was
with PlayStation Inquisitor and
Nothing
DolphinVi,
prepared
and
me for the
you
weirdness
all
that was waiting
have a
there.
great day.
Yep, we'll see you
Take care,
again
man.
next week.
The bad stuff that
See you
would
next
follow
week.
that same place
Yep.
later.